Welcome back to Hooked on Fantasy, everybody. It has been a minute, but Akash and I are back, and we are back in a big way. We're doing 5 shows a week now, which is going to be a big difference to what we were previously doing, but I am very excited for it, and I know Akash is as well. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day we will have a brand new episode of Hooked on Fantasy for you guys to enjoy. I'm really looking forward to the journey of recording every day with this handsome co-host of mine. And I know he is looking forward to recording with his slightly less handsome co-host as well. Akash, why don't you hop in here, my beautiful man?
What's up? How are you doing?
What was that?
I don't know. I'm just getting ready for the show. I'm very excited to be doing this.
Yeah,
Get down,
I am too.
Up to 5 times a week. It's a commitment, but I'm excited for it. And it's always fun to record, so I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. It's a commitment, but I think it'll be a really rewarding experience for sure. And I'm very excited.
We got to change the background.
Yeah, I know. I actually, before we got started, when I was sending that text out and you saw, I was texting Maddie Big Chest, our graphics guy, to ask if he could change our banner on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, it says live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. But now it'll be, I asked him to change it to brand new episodes 5 days a week. So that is what we're going for here, which is very exciting. We have a great episode for you guys today. We are talking Sunday NFL recap. So for all of yesterday's games, and I guess Thursday night if it comes up, and a little bit of a Monday Night Football preview for you. Patriots and Bills tonight should be a fun one. Let's dive into these news and notes here. So up first, we have that Julio Jones has been activated to return from IR. Akash, do you have any interest in him going forward?
Yeah, definitely. Especially since everyone's so off of him in a redraft. I don't know. Some people might even drop him just because it's like, oh, he wasn't producing before, and he's on IR, so why should I? But if he's there, you can add him. Because his yards per out run is still over 2, which signals that he's still a good football player. He's not washed or anything. So definitely you should be concerned about health, just because there have been a lot of nagging hamstring injuries over the last couple of years. But when he's on the field, he'll produce as probably wide receiver 2, just because of the low volume, with still having upside, and he's cheap enough where it's like the injuries are really baked into the price right now. And Dynasty.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that A.J. Brown not being there right now and, Julio coming back is going to be a big factor in his Dynasty value going forward and how he performs over the last backstretch of the season here. Ryan Tannehill, we need to see him get going. Hopefully Julio Jones can light a bit of a spark there. But I'm definitely interested in Julio. He might be on waivers for sure. It's Monday, so tomorrow night, make sure you guys put in those waiver claims for Julio. I'm sure he's out there in some leagues 100%. Up next, we have Marlon Humphrey, star corner for the Baltimore Ravens, is out for the season, which is really bad news if you've been holding Ravens defense this season. And also, I think it's great news for wide receiver 1s and wide receiver 2s going against Baltimore for fantasy purposes for the rest of the season. I mean, if there's anything you want to add to that, feel free, sir.
You pretty much covered it. Marlo is a good cornerback, so losing him obviously helps their opponent, hurts them. I don't really play with defense as much, and if I do, I just stream them. But it's something to account for going forward with the Ravens defense, because they already had some big losses to their secondary earlier in the year, right?
Yeah, they did.
Peters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just another tough loss for them.
Absolutely. Moving forward to some more injury news here. Logan Thomas, tight end for Washington, had an MRI today saying that he does not have a torn ACL. There's no timetable for his return yet, and he's getting some additional testing done to confirm the injury. Hopefully he can come back for the end of the season. He just caught a touchdown yesterday, and he's really started to heat up a little bit. Akash, do you think he's even going to return for the rest of the season? I mean, I know he doesn't have an ACL, but I mean, should he even be rostered right now?
We'll see. I mean, we'll find out over the next couple of days. I think if it's not ACL and they retest and see that it's not ACL, then I guess it'll be either PCL or MCL, and that would be 2 to end of season. 2 weeks to the end of the season. That's all. So really just wait and see what's going to happen with him. I think he's a low tight end 1 while he's healthy. And so, I think you should still hold him just because he's probably an every week starter for you, but he's an easy drop if he's gonna miss most of the rest of the season, because he's not giving you a ton of upside.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not like the highest upside play in the world, but I mean, you kind of plug him in, hoping he gets a few receptions. Then you're hoping for that touchdown ultimately.
Yeah.
So he's a solid play. I think if he's healthy, he should be rostered like Akash said, but definitely not my favorite. Moving forward, this is a bit concerning for me. Adam Thielen has a high ankle sprain that he suffered yesterday. He's having some tests done today to determine the severity ultimately, but he definitely will probably be out Thursday night against the Steelers on a short week.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about, well, Thielen? I mean, I'm assuming he might be droppable, honestly, depending on what the news comes out. He might be out for the rest of the season. And then not Adam Thielen. How do you feel about Justin Jefferson with this news? Do you think this is positive for him, getting more of a target share, even though he's been dominant already? Or do you think
Yeah.
this could hurt him a little bit more, allowing defenses to key in on him a little
No,
bit easier?
he won't be hurt by this. It's remains to be seen if it helps him or if it's a neutral move. But I definitely don't think it hurts him. I think the ceiling could be higher for him, and we saw over the last few weeks, even with Thielen playing, he's been absolutely dominant. He's just a terrific player. He's a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL right now.
Hey, don't
Well,
spoil it. Hey, we'll get to that in a second.
I've been tweeting it for the last few weeks. I think people know. But
That's
regarding Thielen, if it comes out that it's like the severity that I think Edmonds and Judy had earlier in the year, and that's 4 to 6 weeks, I think, around that, then yeah, I think that knocks him out for the rest of the season, and you can probably safely drop him because he probably won't be back until week 17 or 18, which is probably unusable. But if it's only 1 to 2 weeks, then hold on to him because he's a like a high wide receiver 2, low wide receiver 1. Obviously, I'm gonna forever say that touchdown regression is coming. It'll come eventually, just because it always does. But right now the touchdowns just keep flowing in, which makes him like a low wide receiver 1. But ultimately, I expect him to put up wide receiver 2 numbers when he's healthy.
Yeah, I agree. Are you interested at all in KJ Osborne?
No,
Really?
no.
Even if Thielen's out for the rest of the season?
You could add him as like see what happens, but I'm not adding him with any intention of like thinking he's good because I don't think he's good. I think he's just a guy that he's a solid wide receiver. Definitely don't think that he's horrible, but he's like Russell Gage, right? Sometimes he'll
Mhm.
have solid games and then sometimes he won't. He's just a mediocre player.
Yeah, I mean, he could have some good opportunities, so he's definitely worth rostering in my opinion. But
Yeah.
like Akash said, I'm not really adding him with the intention of like throwing him on my roster next week or anything like that. So
Yeah.
definitely a stash long term. He could have some nice fantasy playoff value, but nothing crazy. Up next, Joe Burrow hurt his pinky pretty bad in the Steelers game. Sorry, the Chargers game yesterday. Swelled up really bad. He couldn't even get a glove on it. He was in a lot of pain on the sideline trying to throw the ball, warming up, getting into the game. He does not anticipate to miss any time due to the pinky injury. He came in, finished the game just fine, even though they did lose. I'm not too concerned about this. I mean, it might hamper his throwing a little bit more, might see a little bit more carries from Mixon, but nothing too concerning in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean they're already pretty middle of the pack in like passing frequency when I expected them to be higher coming into the year, which is fine. The offense is kind of running through Mixon a bit over the last few weeks, but I definitely think that this offense still has potential to throw a lot. On the year,
Mm-hmm.
he's been fantastic. He has like a 5.5 ish completion percentage over expected and above average expected points added per play. He's just really smashing up the boxes in a lot of metrics. I think he's top 10 in
Mm-hmm.
PFF passing grade. He's I think QB 12 on the season right now. So
We all know my love for Joe Burrow, so I
for sure.
appreciate that. All right, we have a comment from my boy Jacob. Jacob says Thielen out is good news for Conklin, possibly. He kept getting targeted yesterday over and over. He had a touchdown reversed, or it would have been a tight end one kind of day. I think Conklin's been a good streamer all year, and I mean, obviously, I think it gives him a slight bump. Nothing too crazy though. I mean, Akash, what are
Right,
you
yeah.
thinking about
Nothing
Conklin?
too crazy. Like he's okay tight like a high tight end too. His target share on the year is like 14.8%. Obviously, he's a tight end getting some red zone looks.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a bunch of points to be a tight end 1 week to week, but I think there's a small bump, just
I
like there is
agree.
Osborne. It's not insane, but it's worth adding if you like need a tight end and you have the space and he's out there. Then sure, I mean there's a slight bump which I'm interested in rostering.
Absolutely. All right, quick one here. So Tyrod Taylor got benched yesterday after an abysmal performance against the Colts for Davis Mills once again. So, I mean, I think Tyrod's droppable in case you had him on your roster still.
Yeah. Even in Superflex leagues, I think he's hurt. I'd have to check. Don't go drop him like within 10 seconds because I said it. You can go check the injury on like Roto.
I think he's droppable in Superflex leagues for redraft. Not Dynasty, but redraft, I think he's definitely droppable, in my opinion. Davis Mills should be the starter going forward because Tyrod, ever since coming back from the injury, has been really, really bad. Lastly, though, some pretty major news. Corey Davis is out for the season for the Jets. He's getting a core muscle surgery done. Pretty big news there. I mean, pretty disappointing for Corey Davis. I mean, I was really excited for him this season. Elijah Moore has been really stepping up in his absence, which could be a silver lining, I guess. But I mean, it really sucks for Davis to miss the rest of the season.
Yeah, Davis has been pretty disappointing. I expected more. Last year, he had like a 26% target share. And I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, going away from the low-volume Tennessee offense, going into another situation where he can be a wide receiver one, I definitely think that he could do something with this. But this year, he only has an 18% target share. On a points-per-game basis, he's really a wide receiver 3. Nothing that was too exciting. Your roster won't miss him a bunch, but go ahead and drop him in the redraft. And I think there's better days ahead for Dynasty just because he'll still be under contract, right? And then next year, Zach Wilson hopefully gets better. The offense gets better. They get a real running game and maybe extra weapons, This offense is at its floor right now.
Yeah, I think that, like I mentioned, the Jets offense, they've been doing better the last few weeks. I've really been intrigued by the performance of Elijah Moore, and I'm excited to see what I'm excited to see what they put together for next season's weapons. So that should be interesting. But moving on from the injuries, Akash, I'll let you take the first bullet point here. I know he is your hero. So Devonta Williams is free.
Yeah, my hero. Yeah, it's good to see him do well last night. I think he had like a 25% target share. He had most of the carries, 100-yard game. Obviously caught that touchdown. I remember seeing like right before halftime that pass down the field, or it looked like he was going to go to a wide receiver. And then Devonta Williams, who everyone thinks of as this like bruising running back, just as a pass catcher, is pretty underrated, which shows that he had a lot of targets.
Agree.
And so it's good to see him in the workhorse role. I'm interested to see what happens when Melvin Gordon returns, because I don't think that just because Melvin Gordon was out this game means that it's Devonta Williams like a 70-80% opportunity share backfield now. I think it could return to more of a split when he's back, but it's just something to monitor going forward for the playoffs. Definitely Devonta Williams has upside, but I wouldn't be banking on it just because there's a very real possibility that they just return to the split they had before Melvin Gordon missed that one game.
I agree. Do we know how long he's expected to be out? What was his injury? I'm not too certain.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's just
Let me look it up.
Game. Like,
I think he's week to week with like a foot or something like that.
I don't know. But when he's back, it's
he was listed as doubtful and then changed to questionable. Let's see, and then he was ruled out. He has a hip/shoulder injury. That does not sound very good.
Multiple injuries. Okay.
Yeah, that's not great. I mean, even if he does come back and he's not 100%, we could see a little bit of an increased workload for Devonta. In the short term, I don't think he's necessarily going to have the keys to the backfield by any means, but Javonte's great. He showed off just exactly what he can be. Definitely excited for him in the long term, 100%. Up next, I mean, George Kittle smashed yesterday. How are you feeling about Kittle, coming back and putting on a show yesterday against the Seahawks?
Oh, it's fantastic. I know he's always been a good run after catch tight end, but
he's so fun to watch when he gets the ball in his hands.
Yesterday he made insane plays. Got multiple touchdowns in 9 games this year. He's tied his career high for touchdowns in a season, which is absolutely amazing.
I've really missed watching him play, man. It sucked to see him be out with so many injuries these last couple seasons. It's been really fun to watch him.
Yeah, but he's back, and it was strange seeing his price dip when he was hurt, just because like his dynasty price, because like he'll be back. Like it was only a 3-week injury. He's back. He's dominating on the season. He has like a 23.5% target share, and he's a tight end He's like a top 5 tight end. I think he's tight end 3 or 4 right now. On a
He's
points
been
per game
crushing.
basis. Yeah, he's been fantastic, and it's just I think he's reestablishing himself to be in that tier 2 of tight ends, because obviously everyone has Kyle Pitts as their tight end 1 in tier 1 all by himself.
Jacob commented, live viewer says 0, but I swear I'm here. I see 2 on mine. I mean, the thing that's weird about our broadcasting thing, in case anyone cares out there, it used to include the Twitter live stream viewers and like the viewer count for us to see, but it doesn't anymore. So if you're watching, we appreciate you. Anyways, moving on. Speaking of someone that we both love, Deontay Johnson had a awesome game last night. Akash, I know you're a huge DJ truther, so I'll let you take the floor for this one.
Is it really a truther if he's amazing? Truther is
I know. I just say truther. I mean, people always say that to me, but like I used to say truther if you're a big fan of them. I mean, I love Deontay.
I'm a big fan.
He's a stud.
He's been fantastic on the year. He has a 30% target share, and he's like wide receiver 7 in points per game. I know he missed that one game, but on a points per game basis, he's even better. He's like top 3 in expected points per game right now. Just fantastic. There's obviously a ton of volume there. I don't believe that his success is because of Big Ben, which is why like some people are still worried about that. I'm not worried about that.
It might be. I mean, sorry to cut you off, but I mean,
you're good.
Johnson's been super good this season. I mean, he made it a huge improvement to fix his drops. He dropped a touchdown yesterday. It was a tough catch, but he did drop it. But like that was like his first like drop of the season. He's really fixed his drop issues, which is a huge improvement to his talent, in my opinion. I do think that Big Ben is, making him better as far as fantasy, because he is such a safety valve for him as far as he's always open. But I mean, I also think a young quarterback or a veteran who comes in to replace Ben will realize that Deontay is still the best wide receiver in that team, and he'll continue to utilize him properly. So I'm not concerned long term at all. But moving on to somebody else who you've been, really beating the drum for, you mentioned earlier.
Like you can't cut me off like that. I'm still going.
Go ahead.
I'm still going.
Sorry,
like you said about Deontay Johnson, man, he's always
very excited.
He gets open so well, and like no matter what the QB is next year, we see this year from a 30% target share, like this guy's good. He earns targets at a super high rate. Maybe it goes down a little bit with a new QB, but even still, you're looking at like a 27% plus target share, which is still a wide receiver 1. I definitely think that I'm still like buying in Dynasty, because people just aren't moving him up when he definitely has like all of the production and all of the peripherals to be an elite producer. I don't think people will ever have him as a top 5 wide receiver, just because they're just not. They're always going to prefer like alphas who people are never going to like DJs, what I'm saying. But the production will always be there, I think.
I feel like the other wide receivers scare people away. Like Claypool when Juju was healthy, everyone was like, I don't know, like, is he really going to get like that big of a target share? But like we've seen, yes.
Even when Juju
is that guy. Yeah, he is that guy for the offense.
Yeah, he's doing this with 2 fantastic alphas in the offense. Like Juju played half the year, but even still, Deontay Johnson was still earning crazy amount of targets when Juju was healthy, and Claypool's still healthy. He's still there. He's still a good player, and for Deontay to be doing this to the extent that he's doing it while he has other good players in the offense is just fantastic.
Yeah, I totally agree. But anyway, dude, do you want to just take it? I think we're gonna get into a bit of an argument here. Nothing crazy. I mean, I understand the point, but I'll let you just go ahead. Let's take the floor. It's all yours.
For what, Jefferson?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL right now. He's right behind Devonta and Hill.
Man, I don't know. In real life, I think I would take 4 guys over him.
Who?
Talent wise, I would have Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
DeAndre Hopkins.
I knew you were gonna say it, and then you're gonna say Diggs.
Stephon Diggs, and maybe Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, maybe Cooper Kupp. Probably not Cooper Kupp.
It's definitely arguable top 5 in my opinion. Top 3 is a little too much for me right now, but what he's doing at 22 is absolutely ridiculous. He is destroying the NFL.
Obviously, getting into a reality conversation obviously goes a bit out of my depth just because I'm a fantasy guy.
Sure.
And I don't watch film either, so whatever.
Well, you watch the games.
I watch football, right? And
of course,
you don't even have to watch football to know that what he's doing right now is fantastic. Because I think he's on a 16-game pace for 1,600-ish yards, which is absolutely fantastic. That's like peak DeAndre Hopkins did that, and Justin Jefferson's doing it
Mm-hmm.
at 22.
Mm-hmm. He's so good. I mean, I think that he's going to be amazing for a really, 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 really long time. What do you think
Yep.
about the possibility of him being a free agent and coming to the Bengals to team up with Jamar and Joe? That'd be
I don't
so
know.
fun.
We're like 4 years away from that.
I
Man.
would love to. I know, but that'd be so fun, dude. Imagine like
That would
prime
be
Jamar Chase, prime Justin Jefferson, and prime Joe Burrow.
that would
That'd be
be
so
amazing.
fun.
That would
That'd be so
be
fun.
top 5 QB, and then the wide receiver, and then 2 top 5 wide receivers. That would be insane.
Be nasty.
I think
Well,
people would worry
speaking,
that
sorry,
they
go ahead.
cap each other's ceilings. Plus, you'd have to see T. Higgins leave in free agency the same year they signed Justin Jefferson.
That's true. Yeah, that'd be a little complicated, but just like imagine that though. Like
I don't
that'd
think
be
I don't think they'd
crazy.
let T. Higgins leave just to sign Jefferson.
No,
Jefferson's gonna be a
yeah.
lot more expensive, and
I don't
plus
think
they'd
the
have to sign
Vikings.
Chase.
I don't think the Vikings are gonna let him leave either. I mean, he's their franchise guy at wide receiver for a very long time.
Right. I
Um,
mean, right. Like the most expensive wide receiver contract right now is Hopkins at 27 mil per year. Right.
mhm.
Like, I know it's going to grow over the next few years just because it always grows over time. But putting it in terms of today's money and today's contracts, you'd have to have 2 wide receivers who are worth that or more because they're younger, right? And so
Right, yeah.
when they're both like 24, 25, I think that signing both those guys plus a huge QB extension isn't going to be feasible. But it's fun to think about, definitely.
Absolutely. All right. So moving on to the guy we just talked about, T. Higgins. He's really been emerging over the last couple of weeks. You cite here in the show doc touchdown regression, which makes sense, or just
Yeah.
regression in general.
We're
I mean, Jamar Chase has really been taken away a bit from defenses. He had a huge touchdown he could have had yesterday, but he dropped it and ended up in an interception, which was crazy. But yeah, Higgins has really been dominating the passing game for the Bengals the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, like you said with Chase with that long touchdown. That's just simple variance. It's what I said yesterday. I was tweeting about Deontay Johnson and the long touchdown he dropped. Like if you had a way to simulate that play like 100 times, Jamar Chase scores a touchdown there like a good majority of the time, right? And so that's just variance. That's why we say that he's going to regress if he's still getting valuable down the field targets and he's still getting a lot of targets, which is why there's no way I'm going to worry about him. It's just like a little bump in the road. He'll regress back to being fantastic because he's a good football player, right? He still has a 24% target share on the year, and with that amount of targets, the production will come back. Maybe it doesn't come back to like what was it, top 3 at the beginning of the year, just because at the beginning of the year he was getting really lucky with a lot of long touchdowns. But he's going to be fine rest of the season. And T. Higgins was the opposite, right? He was not connecting on some of the plays, but he still had the targets and all the peripherals to match for us to say like, yeah, he's probably going to regress, and then he did regress, and so it's like two the same. What's the expression? The 2 sides of a coin, where
Yep.
these guys will be fine in the long run. They'll both be terrific producers because they're both really, really good alphas in a good offense with a great QB. So.
Absolutely. And lastly, just to hit on, I mean, Minshew Mania, man, he had a great game yesterday, but is he in love with Dallas Goedert? Goddard had a huge game. He had almost 100 touchdowns, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Imagine if he had 100 touchdowns. That'd be crazy. Yeah, he had a smash performance. And it's interesting. I saw in an interview before or after the game that they said that that was his first time throwing the Dallas Goedert ever. They had never thrown in practice or anything before. And he went out and hyper targeted him, which is awesome.
That's hilarious. I'd have to check, but Goddard, since Ertz left, had been getting like a good target share. I think it was like 21, 22%. Probably goes up because he got, like you said, hyper targeted last game. Plus, he was getting used a lot, like in routes. He had always been a guy that never had a full route participation, was blocking some of the time. But in targets per route run standpoint, he had been really good, which is why people said, oh man, once Ertz leaves, Goddard's really going to break out. And I think we're seeing that to some extent. I don't think he'll end up being elite production at tight end, but I definitely think that he's a like top 8-ish dynasty tight
Funny
end.
you say that. I was actually just about to say with Ertz gone, in my redraft rankings, I was assuming that Zach Ertz was going to be traded before the season. I had Goddard listed as my tight end 8.
Yeah,
I think with Ertz gone, I think that's exactly where he falls in, like a mid-tier tight end 1 that should be started every week.
Right, partly because he's young, and so if you have a young tight end, it's just you have a youngish tight end who just signed an extension, who's getting pretty good production, pretty good deployment, then yeah, I think he'll end up as a. I have to check. Like obviously you have what KP, Waller, Kittle, Kelsey, right, and then you have the two young guys, Andrews, Hawkinson. Then you have then I think the next tier probably is Fant, Goddard, Freiermuth, right? So that's what I think where Goddard fits in, unless I'm missing anyone.
No, I feel like that's perfect, and Goddard I think is a really good buy in Dynasty. Honestly, I think his value is still lower than what it should be, in my opinion.
I think it'll
Just
hold.
you think it'll hold?
Yeah, because I don't think he'll reach like any elite production, and so if I'm
That's
buying,
fair.
I'm either buying for his value to go up a lot, or I'm buying for elite production. And
I just think he's cheaper than what he's giving you currently.
If you're looking to buy tight ends for like low tight end one production, then you can buy veterans who are cheaper, like
That's
Ertz or Gronk, right? I think he's a fine hold right now, just because he'll hold his value because he'll probably continue producing low tight end one numbers, but I don't foresee him like jumping into 14, 15 plus points per game.
Sure. Yeah. All right. I agree. All right. That'll do it for the Sunday recap. Let's move into tonight's game, Monday Night Football preview. Going to be the Patriots versus Bills in a huge AFC East matchup. This is a big game, really, really big game. Weather's probably going to be pretty gross. Bills are favored -3 in Vegas at home. Both teams are pretty healthy and good to go as far as injury reports go. What are we expecting tonight? I'll go first. I'm looking for a big performance from Mac Jones. I think that it'll probably be a really low-scoring game. I'm looking for the Patriots running backs to step up here and try to control that, nasty December, primetime game script. Want to pound the rock and play defense for the Patriots. That'll be a big, deciding factor in what team wins tonight is who wins the battle of the trenches with those running backs. And I think I give the edge to the Patriots there. Damian Harrison and Rondre Stevenson are a very interesting combination. And I'm excited to see what Mac Jones can do in primetime, I think it'll be an interesting game, and I'm also looking to see if Bill Belichick can use his dark magic to take away Stephon Diggs. If they can take away Stephon Diggs and make other players beat him, I think the Patriots have a really good shot at winning this football game.
Right, yeah. I don't the thing about like Bill Belichick taking away the opponent's number one receiver or like best weapon, I don't know, that's a narrative I'll never get behind just because
Really?
Right,
Why?
because that's what every team does. Every team wants the other team to not do well, and that's taking away the best weapon. It's not like Bill Belichick's figured out some magical secret to doing that. He just has a good defense. But I think Stephon Diggs is still a terrific talent. Josh Allen's still amazing. They'll be fine. I do think that in the bad weather game, like what you said about rushing game, that's why I was shaking my head earlier, because it's horrible to watch. I hate when teams just run the football. But that's how that's easily how the Patriots that could easily be the way the Patriots win tonight if the weather's horrible. Just running the ball a lot and controlling it, just because the Bills don't run as well, and the Patriots defense, if they can force just a few mistakes in the bad weather from Josh Allen in the passing game, then you could see the Patriots take a lead early or get up a few scores, which would make it harder for the Bills to come back, because obviously they'd have to pass more and the weather would just be bad. And when you're passing more in the bad weather, it's gonna lead to more mistakes. So I think that this game could be close to a pick 'em. I don't know. I'm not a betting guy, but
No, I think it definitely is. It's a close one. I think it's honestly gonna be a really good game. I know you don't sound that excited about because of the weather, and it might be a pretty gross fantasy matchup. Honestly, I'm not expecting a huge performance out of any of these guys tonight, really.
Except, I'm only starting if I had to if I knew, like going into the week, knowing all this that we know now, I would say I'm just starting Diggs and Allen. Like the split between the running backs, not interesting. What very well could be a low passing volume game for the Patriots, not interested in their weapons. Maybe Jacoby as like a desperate wide receiver 3, but really nothing. And then I'm not interested in Beasley or the running backs or Emmanuel Sanders. It's just maybe Dawson Knox, but his production is like touchdown driven ish.
He's like Robert Tonyan 2.0 kind of.
That's what I said. I said that on the show last week.
Oh, really? That's great.
Because he has like 13% target share, but a bunch of touchdowns.
I also think that this is honestly a great matchup for both defenses. If you're playing a defense tonight, I think it'll be a good one. I think this game, honestly, final score prediction, I'm going to go 24-17 Patriots win. That's my prediction.
Okay, so you're taking Pats what +3?
Yeah, I'm taking Bill Belichick here for sure, especially +3 with the points if I was betting on this game. It's an easy divisional matchup, gross kind of game. I mean, 3 points, that's easy for me to take the plus,
Last time I talked about spreads, I was tweeting and I was like, I'm not a betting guy, but and I was talking about the Falcons against the Cowboys, and I was like, I'm not a betting guy, but I think the Falcons could cover, and then they lost by 30 plus points, and so that was a bit of an L. But I'm coming back. I'm not.
Hey, even the best betting sharpest in the world miss. It's okay.
I'm not a betting sharp either, though, so I'm really just talking out of my ass, really, and just
That's okay.
spewing whatever I can. So yes, I'm not a betting guy, but I think Pats +3. Yeah, even though I want the Bills to win because I hate the Pats, even though I'm in Boston.
How's it? Yeah, how is it living in Boston, by the way? How are the Patriots fans?
They're horrible. I don't know. It's just
Really?
I'm in college right now. So in college, I live on campus, so everyone's from everywhere. So I don't meet a lot of Patriots fans. I'm really just meeting people from all over. But when I go out into the city and stuff and I see sports fans, they're just awful. They're so arrogant and obnoxious about their Patriots.
Yeah, I kind of get the vibe from the Patriots that they're like very spoiled right
Yeah,
now with
definitely.
like their fandom. I mean, you get Tom Brady, the Mac Jones, and a great defense like within 1 year. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. And here,
I'm
I mean, in
praying on their
Miami,
downfall. I'm praying on it.
you're playing on the downfall. I mean, I always have been, honestly. I like Mac Jones. I won't lie, I like him. But here at Miami University in Ohio, we get a ton of Browns fans, which is weird because we're not even very north in Ohio. We're closer to Cincinnati than Cleveland by a lot. But there are a ton of Browns fans here, and they're very obnoxious. But that's okay. I'm from Cincinnati. I'm used to being harassed constantly as a Steelers fan, with all the Bengals fans around. But
How
that's
did
okay.
you end up
So,
as a Steelers fan?
my grandpa is from Butler, Pennsylvania, which is like an hour away from the Pittsburgh area. So, and then I just kind of inherited the fandom. But it's a good one to have. I like being a Steelers fan. It's fun. It'll be interesting to see how they replace Big Ben this offseason. He had a good game last night, though. I was proud of him.
I hope.
What do you say? I'm sorry.
I hope it's a veteran. Maybe probably not.
Yeah,
rookie, right? Like
yeah, I agree. I mean, unless they end up getting a pretty good draft pick, which I don't think they will. They'll probably be like
they're a team that's like they either end up as just missing the playoffs and get like the 16th pick, or they get eliminated in the wild card round and get like the 20th pick. I don't think that
exactly
a great quarterback pick.
The Patriots got Mac Jones at 15 this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hopefully we luck out. But that quarterback class last year is so much better.
Right. I don't think you have 5 QBs like that.
No way. No. Absolutely not.
Like in a different draft class, Mac Jones goes higher.
I agree. I honestly want them to get a veteran quarterback and focus on offensive line in the draft this year. Somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo would be great. I don't want Jimmy Garoppolo, but like somebody
who would not be great. That's the
somebody. You know what I mean, though. Just like somebody who can just get the job done. Okay-ish.
No, that's how you end up trading for Teddy Bridgewater.
I don't want that.
The way that like 4 teams have done before, and then you just end up middling again, not getting a high enough pick to draft a real quarterback. You stick it out with you either sign someone to be like a longer term option, you draft a quarterback, or you're like, fuck it, Mason Rudolph time.
No, God, please, just nothing but Mason Rudolph time, please. That's all
I know, but that has to be within the cards because
it is.
That's how you end up with a top 5 pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's true. Well, last time they did it, they ended up 8-8 somehow, which sucked. But
they didn't embrace the tank hard enough. They traded for Minka Fitzpatrick when
they did
2-4.
Hey, no, you know what though? I'm very happy with that trade. Minka is very good.
Yeah, he is.
All right. Well, I mean, nothing else to add here. So that'll do it for tonight's show, the Monday show. We'll be recording the Tuesday show right after this one for you guys to enjoy tomorrow morning. It's been an honor. We'll see you guys every single day now for a very long time. So have a good one, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Akash, say goodbye to the people.
Bye. See you. Enjoy tonight's game. Hopefully it's better than like 9-3 game, but enjoy it.
It might be a 9-3 game, honestly, but bye-bye.